speaking of great moments, though, anytime someone is on the screen, let's give him his flowers. Paul freaking Heyman.
Oh shoot.
Paul freaking Heyman.
I have to probably concede and be like, nah, Paul Heyman is the greatest manager we've ever gotten because it's not many times where we can just send the manager out for 10, 15 minutes and entertain me. Paul Heyman does that every single time. In fact, when Paul Heyman had his podcast and he had the Heyman hustle, I was just tuning in just to hear him talk, pick his brain. And then he had that legendary one with Stone Cold Steve Austin. No, yeah. Yeah. Paul Heyman, hey, man, in my opinion, he's earned it, man. He is the best.
For sure.
Only person I can think of who can even talk on his level is Stephen A. Smith. And even then, they're not in the same, what's it called? They're not in the same realm right now. But could you imagine?
That's, man. You said Stephen A. Smith. That's why I wanted to see freaking The Rock versus Roman so bad. Imagine those promos. The Rock and Paul Heyman. Oh my God, that's two of the greatest of all time that has picked up the mic. They would sell that. First off, they wouldn't even have to sell it, but them selling it would just be pure legendary entertainment. And then we're not even talking about Roman yet. We're talking about just Paul Heyman and The Rock.
Yep.
It would be mind blowing. And plus, I haven't seen The Rock work with Paul Heyman throughout his entire career. So I'm like, maybe I guess when he faced Brock Lesnar, maybe a little bit, maybe they have did something together, but I'm like, I'll have to really check the archives and see. But
you're going to go back to 2002, god dang SmackDown and Raw.
See if they were even on screen together. But I'm like, man, that's why I wanted to see that so bad. The Rock and Roman.
I believe Undertaker and Paul Heyman had a couple stints back in the 2000s. You got to look at, because that was back with the American Badass. And in fact, wait, I got to ask you something, man. I know this is off topic. How do you feel about the American Badass, man? You never really talk much about it.
I mean, to me, I think it's another version of the Undertaker. It's a good version, but I've always been a fan of the Dead Man Undertaker. But I do not mind. This Undertaker is definitely influential because even for me, like, Undertaker coming out on that motorcycle has inspired me. So when I start to have my wrestling matches, I'm going to come out on a motorcycle. It's not going to be the same type of motorcycle. I'm probably going to come out with more of a sports bike. But that just lets you know the impact Undertaker made, even being that version of himself. So I've always Undertaker is just great. He's just great no matter which version you've seen. The Dead Man, the American Badass, like, he's always been great. So but I just always been more so a fan of the Dead Man. But I like both versions, obviously.
I just don't get it because we grew up in the ruthless aggression era. That's where I started. I don't know where you started specifically, but you're telling me you didn't like the version of Undertaker that was getting at everybody's throat with the bandana on, going to that bike for the pipe, going through regulating everybody on site? You didn't like that?
I liked it, but I just think there's so many versions of Undertaker that was great. I think the Undertaker I like the most would probably be like the Phenom Undertaker, like back in the day. Huh?
Oh, never mind. So that's the 90s. Okay.
Yeah, that's Attitude Era Undertaker. That's when he freaking started the Ministry of Darkness Undertaker.
You like that version?
Because that version, he still talked, but he also still was the Dead Man. So it was like a in between the American Badass and the Dead Man. It was the Phenom, and it was just like this. The Undertaker is one of the GOATs to me, no matter what. Like, this guy, it's so many great versions of the Undertaker. It's just, yeah. That's why I'm like, it's just, it's tough. It's tough I hate to do this to the new generation, but the Attitude Era is just undefeated to me.
Hey, man, I'll tell you this. The moment I was sold on the Undertaker, I remember I was watching this with my uncle, right? It was a regular episode of SmackDown. Hogan was talking that mess to Taker. He was like, I bet. Caught that dude slipping, tied him up to the bike, and rode with his ass across the arena. I ain't never gonna forget that. I was like, yeah, Undertaker, the coldest wrestler here. Yeah. I
That's
get
what,
excited just thinking about it. My bad. I know I'm yelling in the mic, but goddamn, I like wrestling, dog. I like this.
I would have
But
rather seen if speaking of Undertaker, I would have rather seen the badass Undertaker lose to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania more so than the dead man Undertaker losing to Brock Lesnar because the dead man Undertaker should have just been undefeated. Like he he just didn't seem like he should lose, no matter who it was to. But the badass Undertaker was like, he would still be dominant, but he would still lose matches here and there. So, like, if he was gonna lose at WrestleMania, which I still disagree with that decision, it should have been the badass Undertaker that should have lost to Brock Lesnar then at WrestleMania.
I can see it from a narrative standpoint. You can say the reason why Undertaker lost because he was still technically human at that point.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
here's the thing: you opened up the terrible can of worms in interest of what are you gonna do when you know Vince McMahon's gonna be like, let Roman beat him.
Like, that was the most disgraceful one. So the Brock Lesnar one was shocking and just hurt my heart. The Roman one was just disrespectful. That was just disrespectful to me. Even though I love
No,
Roman
it's
now.
gonna ask.
I love Roman now, but at that point in time, that version of Roman Reigns, that was the
Yeah,
most disrespectful thing I ever seen. Me and Vince still got problems right now. Like I'll have to fold Vince for seeing if I seen him right now for that one. Like really, come on, Vince.
yeah.
But this version of Roman, okay, and Undertaker will be much even older in age. Then I'll be like, okay, it is what it is. Cause since he's already lost to Brock, but that version of Roman, nah, disrespectful. That was disrespectful. I couldn't believe that. I could not believe that.